Hi, this is Emily White with the Human Rights Education Network News. I'm connected online with Brian Andy, who works on human rights education in Amnesty Australia's Indigenous People's Rights team. Hi, Brian. Say hi, introduce yourself, and let us know where you're calling from.
Hi, yeah, I'm a Yorta Yorta man from Australia. I work in Melbourne with Amnesty International. We have offices all over our country, but I'm based in the Melbourne or the Victorian Action Centre in the southeast of our country. And I'm the Human Rights Education Coordinator for Amnesty within Australia. And specifically, I work with Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people, or Indigenous people as we prefer to call them, across Amnesty.
Great. Well, you just sent me a report on Amnesty's first ever unaccompanied venture delivering and empowering human rights education workshop for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples. The report is really inspiring. Can you share with us how the event came about and how it went?
Yeah, I guess, the event came about through Amnesty Australia making a commitment to human rights education by employing somebody in my particular role to deal with and to work alongside Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander communities. As part of our campaigning and rights advocacy work across the country, people within the Indigenous People's Rights team have made links with people from Palm Island, which is, if you don't know where Palm Island is, it's a small island off the Queensland coast, the north coast of Australia. It's near a place called Townsville, and it's got a pretty interesting history where there's heaps of rights violations that have occurred. Whether you're talking today, nowadays, there's still rights violations that happen, but historically they've had a really awful history. And so people from the Indigenous rights team connected with these people and said, we'd like to do some kind of empowerment training with you. And from that, I guess that interaction and with teamed up with my employment, we were able to work on a workshop with the people of Palm Island to basically go about empowering them to better understand human rights, and also tools like working with the media, how to campaign effectively, and how to make change using a human rights-based approach within their community to, basically give them some kind of sense of self-determination.
Great. And so who exactly, how many people who was part of the workshop, and how did you choose them, and was it difficult to get people to turn up to the workshop?
Yeah, I guess, yeah, it sort of takes a fairly long time, a long process. I actually visited Palm Island about 3 times before going or before presenting the workshop, so it took a lot of initial engagement and planning and consultation with the communities. I guess one of the kind of ways that we work as the Indigenous People's Rights team is to, I guess, go through a process of free, prior and informed consent based on the the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People. We really want to enact, I guess, we want to walk the walk when we talk the talk. And so we go through a lot of planning and consultation with the communities that we work with, and that was the same case with Palm Island. I went up there 3 times and also with other members of the Indigenous People's Rights team to sit down with community members, community leaders, community representatives to talk about what they might want from the training and who might be involved. We talked about things like how to promote it, how to get word out there, how to engage people. So yeah, it's basically a long process of sitting down with people and saying, what do you want? What would we want from Amnesty's perspective? How can we work together for the best outcome for the community? So that's the kind of process we go through. And yeah, it seems long-winded, but I guess it's necessary and part of the process. And just to give you an indication, I guess I said I was based in Melbourne, and Palm Island, yeah, it's probably about 2,000 kilometres north of Melbourne. So it's, when I say 3 trips prior, it's a lot of time and a lot of kind of travel, and yeah, but it's not without its rewards.
Yeah, I've been not far away actually. So I once visited Heron Island, but that was for tourism. So I went up there. So not far away, but still far away from there. But yeah, in the area. Well, the workshop report mentions that the workshop provided Amnesty with really an engaged and trusted avenue to continue working in partnership with the peoples of Palm Island, and really to alleviate human rights concerns. That sounds really fantastic. I mean, what do you mean exactly by that, and how do you think that was achieved? And just speak a bit louder because I'm not sure how well the mic is picking up. Thanks.
That's fine. Yeah, I guess, yeah, I mean, Amnesty's work with Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people is fairly new. We've had Uncle Rodney Dillon, who's a Palawa from Tasmania, work with Amnesty for 6 years. So, I mean, realistically, our work with Indigenous peoples is fairly new. It's in its infancy. And so my role within human rights education is about empowerment, but it's also about engagement and consulting with communities to bring them on board. You know, while we're a global movement, there really is, I guess, there aren't great numbers of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people involved with what we do. So I kind of want to be able to engage them in that manner. But also, I just want to kind of bring people up to speed as to, you know, what are human rights. There's a sort of sense of what rights are across the country within Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Australia. But I guess, you know, we need to really lift that and illuminate what human rights can do and how they can be utilised for effective advocacy and campaigning. So, yeah, I guess that's the kind of intention. It's basically about engaging initially and sort of, yeah, basically talking the same language, being on the same page. And so, yeah, that's, I guess, was a big aim of our workshop and a lot of the work that we do across the country. But, yeah, I guess as part of the workshop with the Human Rights Education Workshop and on Palm Island, what we did was people wanted to work on issues like how to incorporate local culture into their education system, which is a human right basically about the right to practice your culture and incorporate that into a non-Indigenous education system. So people worked on activities like that that allowed them to, you know, go through the steps of, you know, if they want to make change within their education system, these are the steps that you might want to go through in order to, you know, create that change. So it's about empowering them on, you know, simple things that they wanted to do, or not simple, but, you know, processes that they wanted to go through as a community to make change and to I guess, yeah, establish human rights.
At the end of the workshop, true to good HRE methodology, you conducted an evaluation with the participants. What did they think of the meeting?
Yeah, I mean, people were overwhelmingly, they thought it was valuable. They were very grateful for what we had done. And yeah, I guess the evaluation process is something that we do just to kind of make sure that we're on track. And we do it in two ways. We've got a form that, you know, we allow people to fill out and to respond to in a private manner, but we also conduct a conversation around the evaluation as part of the workshop to close it off. And that's because, you know, we're often working with people with low literacy levels who don't necessarily read or write, so we've got to incorporate ways to ensure that we capture their feelings and feedback, and that's just one of the processes we do. So, yeah, like the evaluation talks about, you know, whether they thought the workshop was valuable or not, thought things about what the content was like for them. We asked about how they might want to utilise that content and the learnings from the workshop, and we also asked for kind of contributions. I mean, for example, we did a workshop in Perth recently, and we have a section on media that we like to present just to promote people's engagement with the media in a positive way. And one of the things that came out of that was, how do you use social media? You know, we'd like to learn more about social media as a platform to work within the media. And we're like, hey, that's a great idea. Like, so the evaluation, while it gives us some feedback and some understanding of how we're tracking, we also utilise as a way to get further feedback and also further insight into how we can strengthen our work.
Great. So what happens now in Australia following from this workshop and in general for your HRE work for this year?
Well, yeah, I guess this year we're developing a justice campaign that will look at the criminal justice system and how that, I guess, is badly affecting young Indigenous people across the country. We'll focus on Western Australia, Northern Territory and Queensland as sites where the statistics are worse. And I guess part of my HRE stuff will be very much around that engagement and consultation with the community. So what we'll do is we'll run 2 workshops, HRE-based workshops in each of those 3 states. That's basically we view them as a way to bring people in so they understand what we're up to from Amnesty's perspective. But also we want them to kind of be able to talk the same language that we do. So if they, if we both see a violation, whether it's from Amnesty's perspective or from the community's perspective, we want to, basically empower people to talk that talk as we gear up to do our report on the criminal justice system, but also we're going to develop a campaign that will then hopefully in the end engage a lot of the people that are involved with our training, rights holders as we call them, to speak to the media, to join the campaign, to help us develop things, to be there alongside us basically. So it's really, we're trying to make a strong link between HRE and campaigning. So it's there's a bit of a split, or there can be a bit of a perceived split within those 2 streams within Amnesty. And I guess it's about, we're really wanting to focus on making sure that HRE is an integrated part of campaigning, because like I said earlier, we're working with new people, we're working with people that we haven't worked with from an Amnesty perspective. So we really need to kind of bring those 2 worlds together, or those 2 streams together, to I guess to have the best outcome for all.
Well, that sounds excellent, and I look forward to our next update with you to hear more about how that goes, maybe in a couple of months. But in the meantime, thank you very much for your time, and thanks for engaging with the network and showing your face to them and letting us all know what's going on in Australia. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. Not a problem. Thank you for your time.
Thanks.